And here we are again to celebrate our next classmate to move through Julia Balaz's amazing Quantum Soul Guidance. It's a certification program for practitioners so we can help support the collective, understand where we've come from, and how do we navigate in this linear time as the new earth moves through this photonic light belt. We're here to help, we're here to learn, and we're here to celebrate Brandy. Brandy's our newest classmate, so congratulations and welcome, Brandy.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome here. Such a joy. Oh, my heart is overflowing with gratitude. I was so eager to have this conversation. Very, very happy and truly super well done. I've seen you, Brandy, progress and evolve through the course so fast, and the amount of learning and practice that you plugged in such a short amount of time. I'm so impressed. It's really inspirational how far you've come in such a short amount of time. So really well done.
Thank you. I was so thirsty for it. It was quenching, so quenching.
It's clearly visible and really well done. You must be so proud.
I am.
Well deserved.
And I'll just share that before we began this recording, the three of us opened our hearts, called in our higher teams, including our star guides, and are basically creating this vessel. It's a beautiful sacred vessel between three goddesses, so that whatever message wants to come through, dear listener, we want it to be held in a very safe, sacred space. So Brandy is going to share her story, and I get to ask the first fun question just about your past, because we want to talk about your past, the present, and then the future. But to begin with, dear Brandy, how did you even begin on this spiritual path towards awakening?
I'm so glad you asked this. I feel like I began remembering who I was when I was in my early 20s, and I began having my children. I have 3 children. They range from 18 to almost 30 at the moment. Right after my 3rd child, I feel like I backed myself into that comfortable little place that everyone thought you should be in. And I forgot who I was. I forgot how magical I was. I forgot how to validate myself. There were just layers of me that got forgotten in order to try to be what I thought I should be. And I was a single mom, so I was constantly in a survival mode. I think that's what it is, more so. Got stuck in survival mode, and I forgot who I was, but I knew exactly who I was. And right before I chose to put my blinders on, I was seeing things, beings, or when I would come into contact with people, I would be flooded with the feelings of the visions, the everything. But I did not know how to identify what I was experiencing. I thought I was just seeing ghosts, or I thought I was just tapping into past life. I wasn't sure, and I had 3 kids and I needed to feed them. And so I put my blinders on. I said, I'm going to wait until my kids are grown. When looking for answers to heal some of my personal trauma and heal my family and heal some splits that had happened, I was looking for healing modalities, and I remembered chronic healing. And so I went back to that. And I in searching, there are hardly any people that speak in a way that doesn't belittle or judge other people. So often when people are talking, they're validating themselves by disvalidating others. If that makes sense. Your material, there is no fear-based and there is no disvalidating. I cannot find anything, Julia, and that is so powerful. Like literally, that is what it is about, and that is the path. That's why I came and stayed, and that, and plus all of your information is so easily to digest. It's so coded. It's so easy to absorb and assimilate. And I came to you from extreme trauma and fear and shame. And I stuck to you because of your beautiful, unbiased presentation and your ability to stand in truth with love on your heart without disvalidating anybody. It's open to everyone.
I'm glad. Thank you for pointing that out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I might jump in, Brandy, I agree 100% with you. Julia keeps it real, and it feels much more like channeling. And in some of the material, you, Brandy, called yourself that you've been a psychic intuitive your whole life. So you've got the BS reader, right? Like you can probably tune into people's energies and go, you know, not my cup of tea, or really not my cup of tea. But when you find someone who can stay in a neutral position and share without too much of their own ego stepping in, because we all have an ego, and so we have a filter. But when it's a lot clearer than most, you as a psychic intuitive, you can sense into that, can't you?
Yes. Yes, sorry.
It must be hard for Julia to sit and hear us talk about the magnetism that draws each of us towards what she's offering. Because we know, Julia, it's not you alone. It's what you're allowing to come through you. And then we're hearing the call, or we tune into the light, and we're like little moths coming to learn and celebrate. And we know that it's not about any one ego, because we're beyond the guru or tell me how to live my life, but it's more about stepping into your own personal sovereignty. Would you echo that, Brandy?
Oh, absolutely. And I actually feel like that is one of the most important things for our youth and people to understand, is that this is about our spiritual sovereignty. That is absolutely what it is about. And that path and that journey for me, if I may, like, if it's kind of an if this, then that. If there's another galactic narrative, then what is your role in that? And if that's been hidden from you, who's been hiding it, and why? And how have they been hiding it? Oh, now we're looking at school systems, prison systems, news systems, entertainment. Once we see how and where they are holding and hiding your abilities and your gifts to recognize your spiritual sovereignty, once we see that, then we have the ability to start dismantling it and claiming who we are. And I feel like Julia's classes and recognizing that, and being able to see, oh, Andromedans, just the little connection there allows for, whether or not you are a believer, there is a connection there and there's a spark. And once we see that, then we're able to open communication there. I think there's little synapses in our genes and in our makeup. Like, I just see such a line in this, and I just want I want people to wake up, because once you see and once you know, you have the ability to no longer give consent, because we're unknowingly giving consent through these institutionalized systems. We unknowingly give consent by sending our kids to certain schools. We unknowingly give consent by watching news. We unknowingly give consent by looking at the entertainment, everything, all. And I'm tiptoeing and I'm reserved in my speaking because I don't know yet what language to use on YouTube, and I don't want anything to happen to you and your channel. And so that perhaps is part of why I'm holding some things back, because I believe that there's a manipulation that's happening, but I don't want anybody to be a victim to it. I want them to stand in their spiritual sovereignty and wake up to that, because that is what will just shatter that entire system.
Well, staying at that 1,000-foot view of, we're in a paradigm shift. We are waking up. You were a fortunate one, Brandy, who was born knowing who you were and chose to put the blinders on for survival reasons. Now, anyone listening may also feel the same way, you know, but when you look at the Starseeds report, just looking at your own for the first time, using that free online calculator that Julia and Hector created and gifted with us, did you get to understand why? Like, why was my personal life the way it laid out? Did that, like, did the light bulbs go on for you like they did for me? Like, this is why, because here's proof, you know, like, I'm not just making this up. This is like proof here.
100%, 100%. Much of what I have seen, and I've never had a QHHT. I would love to, or want to learn how to, but yes, Ursula, so much of what I saw. And then when I started doing my sons as well, oh my gosh, my whole family's on my wall, and I can see it now. And now I understand why we are who we are, what we came here to do, and how we can support one another. It
gives you a new way to a context. See, it's not the church, it's not the school system, it's not your peer group. This is a galactic navigational quantum soul guidance capability. And anyone who's been born into traumatic experiences or had to deal with survival issues at any point in your life, this is powerful medicine, because it says, this is why, and this is what I signed up for. So not only do you see the why, but you also say, I own it. I own it, but how do I want to navigate in my next step? Because now that I know, now that I see the proof, I'm in control. I don't need a guru outside myself. So that's why we use that word sovereignty. It's like, now you own it, and now what do you want to do? What do you choose to do?
That's so powerful, Ursula. Then that's so empowering. I think that much of this information would trigger people and maybe put people into, not this information, nothing through your class, Julia, but just the awakening process in general can, it instantly puts us into that victimhood role. And I say that loosely because I want to validate people who have certain experiences and traumatic memories. I don't disvalidate that, but it is very important to maintain your sovereignty and to allow yourself to experience that, move through it, give yourself what you need in that moment. And then now what? And now what? Because here we are, like, manifest what and who you came here to do and to be. It's so easy. We don't have time be in that state of victimhood. And I'm saying that loosely because I also honor people who have those feelings. You know, but
an important stage. That leads me to a question with regards to your galactic astrology soul reading sessions. From what I'm getting from you, it sounds like your focus is to really help people find answers and then empower them. You know, what can you do with this, rather than just, I don't know, massaging the ego and, you know, kind of attaching just another label of different galactic races. But no, not really, just focusing on what can you do with it in a practical way. Do you want to comment a little bit about what is your heart calling in client sessions when you work with someone?
Yes, I think that I know that some people come to this because they're already familiar with star seeds and their role, and they're open to this information. I look forward to introducing people to galactic history through this information and through their star alignments. I'm very new to astrology. And so the psychology behind the alignments has just been fascinating, so fascinating. And so, to be direct with your question, I'm looking for the strongest star connection and how that shows up for them in their life. And the intention is that I hope just to resonate something in their DNA so that they can start hearing those beings from those star systems that are there for them, their family.
I just popped in Brandy's wonderful website. Brandy, you've done such a great job. Look at this.
Thank you.
And so it's Our Galactic Astrology. Brandy, look at what you wrote. You say, take what resonates, leave what does not, like permission to just discern. And this is a common motif from Julia. Use your discernment. It's not a one size fits all.
And you're so what, Julie? That's you.
Notice that. I love that. I love that. Yes.
That was life-changing. And that gave me the courage to put myself out there in this way. You were like, so what? I loved it.
What? Yeah, look at this. So you do galactic soul mission, galactic soul readings. Look at this. I mean, it's just so beautiful. This picture says it all. Wow. You just came through the class. We launched the class, Julia, in February. And then Brandy, you've created this website and you're just bringing your fullness out into the world now.
Can I ask a question? I noticed inside the QHHD community that each practitioner seemed to have their own unique attraction point. For some people, for some practitioners, they kept attracting people with a certain type of trauma. The others were very galactic type of sessions. Have you already thought about your attraction point and what is your soul or your heart calling? You know, what type of frequency, consciousness, people may come to you? Do you get a sense of that yet? I know it's maybe too early to ask, but
people I would like to touch with these galactic soul readings. I'm finding that a lot of new people that are in the closet, if you will, are attracted and really eyes open, ears perked when I mention, I'm learning galactic astrology. What? Like these very people I wouldn't think would have interest are drawn to it. That said, I would love to be able to connect people who are mentally ill, who are struggling with problems with drugs or have a violent past or things like this. I think that there's something there to their trauma that this type of healing or this type of awakening could heal at an exponential rate. So whatever drove them to those places, I feel this information could heal exponentially. Just again, and it just has to do with the being aware of a new galactic narrative. Just thinking of that. And so I would really like to just wake people up. Hey, light warrior, get it together. Like, this is what I want to do, but I just want to simplify concepts from quantum fields to ascension to galactic history, spiritual hygiene, these things that are common, we speak of naturally and easily amongst you and I, or amongst people that are already aware of this information. So I want to simplify it for people who don't talk about it at all.
From the little I know about you, from while we were in touch regularly during the certification process, it really seems like you have that attraction point, and in particular, late teenagers, young adults who feel totally lost, yet you can see the spark inside their soul and tapping into that quantum field and then bringing in the information that goes way beyond anything they could ever imagine. So my prayer and wish and a blessing for you is to really attract those that are ready to remember and to know and understand and zap out of the toxic cycle of many, many incarnations and just be liberated once and for all with this type of work.
I love the way you worded that. Absolutely. That is so true to how my heart feels and what I want to say. Just a little, like, you know, just a little shake. Wake up, hijo. It's time to wake up.
Yeah, and I think it'll be so wonderful if they actually see it black and white. It's, oh, okay, it's not wishy-washy psychic reading, not disregarding psychic readings, but you know, from some people's perspective, that's what it is, just wishy-washy. But when they see it in their chart, then it's something in it that will help them accept it and just release the mixed up identity anchored in trauma. They can just let it go. And what if there is more to me? What if I'm much bigger on a soul level, and then starting to heal and expand and reset. Oh,
you're encouraging me. On an email I sent to you, I mentioned I was on a bus and a gentleman and a young kid got on the bus. He was in his late 20s and he had just been released from Pelican State. I think it's a federal penitentiary. It's a pretty gnarly federal penitentiary in Northern California. And he got on the bus, and I can spot these kids a mile away. They look a certain way when they get off. They've got their bag, they've got their clothes, either what was issued or their parents sent them, just like fresh duds. Anyway, this person got on the bus and he did not know how to use a phone. He did not know how to check into a hotel. He did not know how to even get where he was going. He had been locked up since he was 16. And he was in his late 20s. And something happened with his travel plans. He was trying to take the Greyhound from point A to point B. Something happened. He needed to find a motel. And he was asking where this motel is. And when I realized what was going on with him, I told him, I'm going to stay on the bus and get you to your motel, babe. Let's just sit here. Here we go. So I stayed on the bus, got off the bus, made sure that I got the room for him because he didn't even have an ID yet. He had just gotten out. So they issued him with just a little bit of money on a card. And this child had nothing in regards to experience. Anyway, I just loved him so much, like so much. And
the wings were on your back in that moment, right? The angel guardian and that mama.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny, you're making me realize I have his phone number. I made sure he connected with his family. He got home. But I think I'm going to reach out and ask for his birth details and maybe do a little reading for him, or at least send him a report. I think that this would just be beautiful for people to hear. People like that, kids like that, who aren't even thinking about it.
Wow, that could be a beginning of some amazing story, and just like a blueprint for, look, this is what the impact is. And wow.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
How powerful if we all just meditated, if we just went down to like the state pen and help. And I know that there are people who are doing those things. I know that those programs already exist, but how exciting if we all just rose above and practice healing and learn to be service to others.
Yeah, it's about, you're such a beautiful demonstration of becoming passionate about whatever was your wound. You're becoming a healer for that wound in others. And I've seen that so many times with so many clients, that life is guiding you to your greatest treasure through the wounds and suffering. But once you transcend that, you become very, very powerful healer for many, many others. So what if everything has a higher meaning? So
Yes.
thank you for following her so beautifully.
Oh, thank you, Julia, for helping to, I think all of your information, I could point out so much. Your shame, Dr. Hawkins material, your 21-day affirmation, powerful. If nothing else, people should do that meditation. If nothing else, that meditation. And if someone needs something else, then I would go to chronichealing.com on Monday and Wednesday at 10. But your meditation, your 21-day meditation, is profound and powerful and works. And it is an amazing tool.
Thank you so much. That was a spontaneous creation, I believe, during Lionsgate a few years back. It just happened so randomly on one day, and the feedback has been amazing. Thank you. Brandy, I'm really curious about your art, and maybe Ursula, since you are an artist, do you want to tell us a little bit about when did art become part of your life as well, because it's so special?
Yeah, so Brandy, I'm just pausing and just going, my God, there's another segment that you have as far as market, like women who are like, okay, I focused on my children, my life, and then what? And here comes this artwork. It's Yo Soy Mar. Tell us a little bit about your art.
Mm-hmm. Oh, geez. Well, it's Yo Soy Mar is I am the sea, and Mar is my nickname. I didn't mention this, but I trained capoeira for about 6 years, and I taught for about a year. And it's the ocean. That's my nickname. It's like the ocean. This just came. I've always been an artist my whole life, but I haven't had time to really dedicate myself to my creative flow. In maybe the last couple of months, I've learned a modality of acrylic pouring. And just the way that everything moves together is perfect for me. And as I was learning this, eyes started coming through. And these are eyes I don't really know how much more to mention, because they're kind of their own things. Like I had different color eyes, and I could see them, and I could see them blinking. And it's almost like they're eyes of celestials, and they're so
goosebumps.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I love it so much, and I cannot take credit for it, because they came to me almost, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah,
I love how you say the acrylic pour really requires that intuitive response and the happy accidents and allowing room for creation, for paint to be paint. But it does feel very galactic on a certain layer because it's not, oh, I'm going to draw someone's eye and use your mind to create. This is all about the happy dance of you set the stage and then you allow for creation to happen. It's a beautiful dance.
Yeah, and there's a channeling element to the art that I've noticed. So I'm learning how to allow that and not be intimidated by it as well.
It's spectacular. One idea I had was, in quantum soul guidance sessions, we are guided to look at soul essence, frequency, colors. So I was wondering, do you think when you tap into soul colors of your clients, maybe if they, on request, you could combine those specific colors and then create an amazing art?
I love that idea.
So this is what I'm picking up, if you don't mind, Brandy. It's like
Yes,
you are one, keeping it so humanly real, right? You keep it real. So, oh, you said, oh, I'm new to astrology, but you jump in and you don't just do Western or Vedic. No, you do galactic. And then, you're not really maybe trained as a painter, but you're going to just go play with paint. And so the common denominator really seems to be this beautiful heart of, hey, man, it's real, it's human, and it looks fun. And there's this gift of service. Like you're not making art for a gallery to sell. You're kind of tuning into someone else's energy. And I sense that your readings will be very similar. It's like you don't just get a chart reading from the head, but it's this intuitive channeling. I think that you bring to the table, and then you keep it humanly real and not afraid to deal with the darkest darks. When I say that, it's like the darkest darks of our human experience. No one said Ascension was going to be easy. It's messy.
Yeah.
And so is life. And so when you see the starseed report, you can say, oh, this is why. Oh, here's this star nation, that star nation, this connection. So good for you that you just keep it so real. And you're with this one lifetime. At the end of the ride, you're going to go, yeah, man, I tried it all. I didn't hold back because I'm not an expert. You just did it. Motherhood is huge. So anyway, that's my little 2 cents. You're keeping it real.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Ursula. I absorb like that. I love thank you for recognizing that. When I love something, I just kind of like, I love learning. I have a huge passion for learning. And so whenever there's something new that I'm interested in, I just want to
You're a deep
learn.
diver. You're a deep diver.
Yeah, diver.
Well, as we close, I was going to ask you for one last thing. If you could think about all of your classmates who are, I don't know astrology so well, or I'm not so sure I could ever be a practitioner. Could you share a message from your heart to anyone who may be a little unsure of where they're at? And it looks so big because there's so much material.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can totally do it. You can totally do it. And especially like the most complicated concepts, they can be simplified. It's not as complex as what you may think. There are basic formulas, and Julia really simplifies things, and she color codes things and makes it again so it's easy to assimilate. If you've never done it, you can totally do it. Just do it, because you can. It is possible, and it's not as hard as you think. And especially once you start connecting it to your own character and who you are, it makes it easy to learn, because it's a knowing. It's not something you have to reach outside of in order to understand. It's a knowing. And that's what makes astrology, I think, kind of profound. And I've never had any idea about astrology until I took your class, aside from I'm a Cancer and I'm emotional. That's all I knew.
If that's the case, then I'm even more impressed with your reports from whatever I've seen throughout your certification process. There was so much of astrology covered in that, and it was spot on. Like, I'm very impressed. If you're a newbie to astrology, I could not tell.
Very much.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow. Well, keeping it real. Well, thank you, Julia and Brandy. You've made my day, because basically I think what you're saying is, hey, if I can do it, someone who's not coming with a ton of knowledge in astrology, if I can do it and become a quantum soul guidance practitioner, because I want to help that young person or that person just out of an institution that is lost, it feels like your cup of tea and your heart gets big, because you're going to track and support.
I love that.
Yay.
Do you have any final message, Brandy, or do you feel you shared what you had on your heart today?
I feel like I shared most of it. Mostly wake up. You're light warriors. It's time. Like, that is big time.
Let's do this.
It's time.
Let's do it.
Do this.
Much love, everyone. Take care. See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.